This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we've got Awesome and Chris on here, and Chris had a question about the dual air assist and how that works, specifically in LightBurn, but basically the same way in RD works. So why don't you start, Chris, and then we'll just kind of jump in and do whatever you'd like to do. And you can share your screen if you want. If you'd rather drive, or I can provide examples on mine, however you want to, whatever you feel comfortable with.
No, I'm going to let you drive. I've got mine pulled up here in the background, so it looks exactly the same. All I did was just draw a circle
Okay.
for some work. Uh, but yeah, basically what my question was is on my Nova 51, I've got a Nova 51 130 watt.
Mm-hmm.
It has the two buttons on the left-hand side for air assist just
Correct.
to test it. And one is a high pressure and one is a low pressure. So what my original question was is how do you differentiate in LightBurn whether it uses a high pressure air assist or a low pressure air assist?
Okay, perfect. So the way that works, if it does not get a signal from Lightburn to tell it one way or another, or for example, if air assist is off, it'll automatically pick the engrave stage. So I'm going to duplicate this real quick, and I'm going to call this one Phil. Hey, Phil, how are you? Nope, not that. Okay, so let me just make a cut and a fill. We'll make this a different layer. We'll make that one a line. So when we look at it in the preview, we've got a cut and then we've got a fill, an engraving. So the way that's going to work is if you go to the one that you want to actually cut, you want to turn on air assist. That means it's going to be cut mode if this is turned on. If you, for instance, want to do an engrave, then you want your air assist off. Now that doesn't mean you're not going to get air assist. It means it's supposed to be the engrave stage. So that's how you toggle them on and off between layers. So now you'll have, ideally on the cut, you'll have the cut stage, and on the fill, you'll have the engrave stage.
Yeah, I mean that's perfect. That answers all my questions that I had right now. I mean,
Yeah,
I've got a little bit of a background, so I think
there, there's a little bit of a caveat there. Most people, if you go in devices and double click your device, I'd say quite a few people do it serial USB, and that's the default selection, I believe, when you set up a machine. There have been some sequencing issues where it turns on fill instead of cut. It gets out of sequence a little bit sometimes. And one way we found to prevent that or help prevent that is to use packet mode instead of serial mode. That seems to help. The ultimate way that I do it is connect via Ethernet, and from what I understand, I haven't seen this come up anymore. That pretty much takes care of it. The other option is when you're in serial USB, instead of starting the job here and streaming it directly to the machine, you can send it to the controller's memory, and when you run it then the air assist stuff is correct. Does that make sense? So
yeah, that
it,
makes perfect sense. And I've seen some issues doing it both ways, and it was related to whether I send it from Lightburn or if I just hit start when I'm hooked up serial.
right. So, and those are just some weird things because our DSP runs a custom firmware just for Thunders, so that we can utilize the Y-axis for the rotary, and some other things, and set some current caps and things like that in there, some power scaling. I don't know if you call it scaling, but a maximum. So it behaves a little bit weird sometimes. RDWorks has, in our version, it actually, I think in one of the versions, it even says engrave or cut instead of off and on. But I'm not sure exactly which one that is. But it's as simple as that. If air assist is on, it's going to be the cut stage. If it's off, it's going to be the engrave stage. So that's
Yeah, that's perfect for everything that I've got going on here. I appreciate it.
cool. Awesome. You got anything on the air assist? Do you use your air assist? Now, look, I have to make a confession. I have both of mine wide open on cut and engrave, and I don't even pay attention to it. I just run my air wide open on both stages. Awesome. Do
Yeah,
you?
that's kind of where I'm at too. I've got them both cranked open. If I do a engrave, and I see maybe it's blowing out some chips or anything crazy like that, I'll go ahead and crank it
Gotcha.
down a little bit. But for the most
Yeah.
part, I just run them both wide open. I think I'm pushing out 70 psi from my little air compressor right now.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So awesome. Do you have any input on air assist? Do you notice any difference by uh, changing the flow rate of them or anything like that? Any kind of insight? Because I don't do a lot of actual engraving. I just test things. So you probably have more of an idea of how it reacts with different materials and when it's good to use less and good to use more and that kind of thing.
Well, I'm considered the grandfather guy, so I have one of the original Novas. So I'm the one who doesn't have that stuff.
Okay, so all right. Well, let's talk about this. Do you wish you had it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm trying to actually find some feedback from some of the other users that have it.
Mhm.
Does it make a huge difference with the clean cuts or not? It's supposed to. So I'm curious to
Yeah,
know.
I see a lot better quality of cut too with the air assist and being able to have that functionality built into the program. Full disclosure, I come from an Epilogue,
Okay.
and the Epilogue I ran, it had just the oversized, I guess, aquarium pump,
Hmm.
and at times it struggled to even get through, the box store 1/4 inch birch plywood.
Right.
But I've noticed having it an actual air compressor to provide a higher flow and a higher psi, I'm able to pretty much blow through the birch pretty well. There's times maybe I've got to play around with the power settings or the speed, but I'd say it makes a huge difference as far as the upgrade in the air.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So
Was one
I
of
think
the
I ought to make another topic also, maybe on using the supplied compressor or pump versus using the external, because there's a lot of good stuff coming out on that too. So that might be for another time. We could delve into that a little bit. So
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to Amy and she said I have two options. I can just kind of attach the compressor to my current line. She said it'd just be by default at the higher pressure or
right,
the pressure I set it up to. Or she said you do the assist and you've got two different pressures set for you and you don't have to worry about it. So she said the only catch for you is going to be you're going to have to figure out the holes and wiring and all that stuff because she'll sell me the upgrade kit.
right, right. Yeah, I've got the schematics on that. It doesn't look too terrible if you're used to punching panels and running some wires, making some harnesses and that kind of thing. So I think you're in that kind of realm anyway. That's might be in your wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, good. All right. Well, let's just keep this one short and sweet. I think we addressed the air assist and how it works as far as the dual air assist goes, and we'll just put this up on the knowledge base, and hopefully everybody else can get some benefit from it too. So I appreciate it, guys, and
Yeah,
we'll
thank you.
catch you next time.
All right, appreciate it.